Where's my calendar? It's Monday the 7th of December. We're doing FAQs 88, 89 and 90. We've got Mick, Rasta Nick and Jordan here. Welcome guys, thanks for coming. Do you want to say little hellos as we got Jordan's new? Right, so I'll start. Little introductions. Don't worry about it going too long. Sorry, Jordan, I'm just going to mute you whilst you're not speaking because I'm getting a lot of feedback off you, okay? So yeah, I'm Aidan. I've been point of contact now for 2 years. I'm a computer programmer from Swindon, and I don't know anymore. So that'll do for me. So I'll do orders to Jordan if you can go next. You need to unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Jodian from Bristol at the moment, and I'm just starting out early in here. But I'm, I like a lot of this stuff, so I'm trying to learn as much as I can. That's me.
Cool, cheers, Jodian. I'm Mick. I'm from South Yorkshire, working full time at the minute. 30 years old. Heard about the Venus project about 3 years ago. Became POC about August. Yeah, loving every minute. It's a good laugh.
I'm Nick. I'm too old for this shit, and I've known about the Venus project for years and heard about this meeting thing. So thought I'd get involved and find out what was happening, and it's been getting my attention every Monday night ever since.
Great, well thanks everyone for coming. So question 88, in this new culture you propose to utilise a technical elite that would decide the direction for society. Do you propose? No, you do. So will there be a technical elite? Who wants to go first?
I could go, because I think I'd better go with the reference to technical elite here. So I'm not entirely sure and wouldn't use the words technical elite. I speculate that within a resource-based economy we would use a scientific method applied to the means of human survival to make decisions. I speculate that computers will do most of this. I speculate that when it comes to deciding which resources should be used for exploring space or the oceans, there would be a competent democracy of people who would put forward hypotheses for the greatest return. And what I mean by that is not like monetary return, I mean like resource return. So like firstly the environment, because without the environment we can't survive, and then secondly social return, because without humans we can't look after the animals, and then thirdly, if we can and where we can, helping animals' well-being. But that maybe the two different competent democracies, say if, like some people want to explore space or want to explore the oceans, would also split the resources needed based on the hypothesis brought forward and openly displayed for all to scrutinise. So when somebody's using the term technical elite, I think they're trying to say these scientists will not let us see what they're doing. They'll be doing it for what they want rather than what we want. Whereas I believe in a resource-based economy, and I'm guessing here, that they would be open to see, so that people could see exactly why they wanted to do things, what their intentions were, what the targets were, etc. Yeah, that's my answer.
That's good. Jordan, do you maybe want to have a go? I know it's hard because we've all prepared.
Yeah, no, I can do it just off my blooming cuff answer and see if it works. But what I'd like to say is I don't think there could ever be a technical elite, because I believe quite rightly what Jack says. You know, the next day the knowledge has changed. No one will ever be. But I do think that certain responsible members of our new society, that whoever is interested uh, in areas, they can certainly make all the decisions, because nobody else will probably be interested in it. But I think nothing will be in this Venus project. Nothing will be silent. So, like, I'm forgetting everyone's names is, but Yorkshire lad, like he says, everything's going to be completely open. So if you want to have a word and you want to have your say and say no or yes to something, you can go ahead and go in it, and it will be completely open to the whole bloody planet. But I don't think we will have technical elite, no, because like everybody has to keep up to date with everything, and when we're in this new world, the information changing is going to be beautifully every second, because everybody's who's interested and loves whatever they love, they're going to be researching and getting involved in these things, so they're going to be constantly updating us on new finds, and we're going to trust them completely, because we know that they love what they're doing. They're not getting paid for what they're doing, and we're all going to love this world. So no, there won't be a technical elite. There will just be a certain amount of people that are interested in each field, and they will be making the decisions on our behalf. But they will be asking for certain resources, like this guy, says. But everybody wants a little bit of everything, so we will have every space. We'll have a space program. We'll have the environment program. We'll have all these things, and we'll just request resources from the computer. And the computer will say, well, no, at the moment, everybody wants this bloody new scooter, so we haven't got this new metal. But in 2 months' time, we see that nobody's going to want this scooter, so we can start chucking you that bloody metal that you wanted. I think that's how it's going to be. So there's not going to be any elite. The only one that's going to be elite is going to be elite for the day, and then the next day somebody's going to be more elite than him, because he's going to have more the new knowledge. So no, there won't be any technical elite, in my opinion, in the Venus Project.
Very good, very good. What I'd say is that you brought up that I didn't really mention in my official answer is that there's no differential advantage. So even if someone does know a bit more about you than something, they can't use it to their advantage, because there's nothing to be gained.
Because everybody knows that new advantage as soon as you've done it.
Yeah, exactly.
And most importantly, the near AI, hopefully intelligence of the computer, will look into it and deeper than we can, and quickly come out with more solutions and more linkages to other uses throughout the whole planet. So it's beautiful, this bloody thing.
Yeah, definitely. So what was my real answer? There is no technical elite in the Venus Project or in a resource-based economy. All decisions based upon the methods of science, which not all people may understand. So this is what I'm getting at here, is technical elite. If you mean submitting to someone else's knowledge,
yeah,
and just going, yeah, that's fine, then yeah, that will happen at some points. Like you can't read your own X-rays; you need a doctor to actually read it.
Yeah.
So all that's there, and the another big difference is that all the barriers to entry into these fields, such as today going to university, getting a master's degree, all this stuff, because that all costs money, all that's gone. So if you're interested in something, you'll get interested in it, and then you can contribute in that field in any way that you can.
Whilst you're learning and doing it, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's
Nick?
like Jack, isn't he, guys? He answers it precisely, whereas all of us can't get to the point quick enough.
Nick?
Yeah, I said decisions will be made scientifically, and obviously with access to a global knowledge of resources and requirements, computers could be used to distribute resources or make decisions. And education is going to be freely available to all, another thing that everyone's picked up on. So anyone who's got an interest and who isn't interested in the world that sustains us could learn whatever things they wish to learn and help improve society, which is like basically what everyone's been covering in their answers. I did pick up on something that Jodian said, which was like you said, if you've got an opinion, you'll be heard, and yes or no, which is, I mean, this is the thing. Like, today we protest, but really, you're protesting in a system. It's a token gesture. Your right to wave a placard. It doesn't actually do anything. You're not empowered by it. Someone says, "Oh, look, there's some people." It doesn't really make a difference. But in a resource-based economy, if you've got an opinion, you're going to be heard. And the thing about this having an opinion is that, if someone's got an idea in today's society, there's a lot of people who would like to discredit it. They'd like to undermine it. If it was an idea even for manufacture of a product, there's still people that want to undermine it because they think they can make a better one. So opinions in today's society tend to be negative. When you take away the need for money, this need for profit, well, really, if you've got an opinion about something, about anything anyone's doing, you're going to have a positive opinion. You're going to be looking to improve upon their idea, improve upon their product, to in fact work together, for the greater good. Yes, I was watching Star Trek earlier. But by the nature of the society, there's things that happen commonplace today, on all sorts of stupid levels. This washing up liquid's better than this washing up liquid. But there's got to be an efficient and best way if you put all the people's minds together. And that's one of the huge differences. So as Aidan said, technical elite, what's going to be a technical elite? Anyone can learn about anything, as everyone has in fact said. You learn about what you're interested in, and sure, if the people who are interested in the Moon project or the Jupiter project, they've got their idea. If you're interested, you can put your 10 pence worth in. If if you're not, you don't have to. If you're interested in making little bubbles because kids like them, that's what you're doing. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
Well, the thing I'd say is that putting your 10 pence worth in, it's like, yeah, okay, but what's going to actually count is here's the results of the tests of my new model. Right, so now we're just going to go and read the real answer off the website to cross-reference, and then we have like a little bit of time in case there's any questions that come up about this whole thing. So, FAQ 88, in this new culture, do you propose to utilize the technical elites that would decide the direction for society? No. The Venus Project calls for a cybernetic society in which computers could replace the outmoded systems of electing politicians that, in most cases, represent the entrenched vested interests. Technology will never dictate or monitor individuals' lives, as this would be considered socially offensive and counterproductive. Motion pictures such as 1984, Brave New World, Blade Runner, and Terminator 2 have spawned fear in some people regarding the takeover of technology in our society. The Venus Project's only purpose is to elevate the spiritual and intellectual potential of all people, whilst also providing the goods and services that will meet their individual material needs. It has been said that many people employed by private corporations feel they serve in private dictatorships from the moment they step through the door and punch the time clock. The Venus Project, on the other hand, would utilize the best of technology to better the lives of everyone in the proposed system. The workday will be shortened, thus providing individuals with more leisure time, a healthier lifestyle, and stress-free environment. Interesting. Anyone have anything to say about it? Mick?
I like the part at the bottom about shortening the working hour. discussed. Like, I think with if you're not working as often, you've got more time to learn. I'm working full time again, and I'm screwed. So, but if when you're working a lot less, and you've got time, like you say, to learn about, say, space exploration, and then once you're competent, once you can show that you know about whatever space exploration mission you're thinking about doing, then you can then have a say in what happens.
I mean, like you just said, like that, you pick up on the shortening the working hours, and you know, as you would, you know, being, you know, enslaved at present. Um, the present government, the present system, doesn't want to solve unemployment. You know, let's be frank about this. You know, like obviously over the last 60, 100 years, whatever, you've had, you know, the introduction of machines into the workplace. You know, you've had the introduction of women into the workplace, and that's obviously is lessened the number of jobs that people have to do, and you know, introducing women into the workplace sort of doubled the amount of people looking for jobs overnight. You know, so yeah, but if you wanted to solve unemployment, you know, it would be simple, wouldn't it? Make everyone's 72-hour weeks down to like 16-hour weeks and share the workload. And we don't do that because of profit and money and, you know, numerous other reasons that are all bollocks. So, you know, the government don't want to solve unemployment. The government don't want to stop wars. You know, we're in a position where the things that make our lives stressful are actually, you know, the people in charge want them to continue. Sadly.
I was thinking about them saying technical elite. Well, like, and I know like a resource-based economy wouldn't be a technical elite, but in this system, what do we have? We don't have a fucking competent elite. We don't have people that know about science or technology. We have fucking people that know about laws and business, and that's it. And money. They just want to, and we've got that kind of elite. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the answer is, for me, strange because it didn't talk about people at all. It's just all about the technology. But it was actually very good because it's picked up on probably what the person had in their head, which is Brave New World, all that stuff. Like people who worry about the singularity and things like AI is taking over and just telling us what to do and stuff. So it was pretty cool actually in the end. And I can't remember. There was something else. I forgot. I'm not doing very good this evening. Forgetting everything as I'm saying.
I just thinking, like it says, like the technology will never dictate or monitor individuals' lives. You know, I mean, whereas today they want to monitor everything. You know, just in case you don't agree with them. Yeah, I mean, this society is, you know, seriously falling apart. You know, the leaders need protecting from the people they're supposed to represent. How stupid is that? You know, and yeah, we don't have a technical elite, as Mick pointed out. You know, we have a bunch of muppets, or we have, you know, a bunch of business elites. And ironically, if push came to shove and the Third World War that everyone seems to be trying to start actually happened and they were destroying the earth, it's comical that the people that would be in the concrete bunkers, you know, the leaders that were in charge, would have absolutely no chance of rebuilding anything, you know, 30 years later when they came out the bunker, because there'd be a load of businessmen and politicians, you know, and it'd be like, well, let's build a house. Well, who can build a house? Well, no one, really, because we're all businessmen and politicians. We can tell people to build houses, but we don't know what a brick looks like. So, you know, it's foolish.
Cool. I'm not doing good. Forgotten again. Right, I kind of know, but it's well off topic, so we'll stick to this. So, there's anything more about this question? Otherwise, we'll move on.
I'm good.
Okay, sorry. The next question was, how does one solve the problem of excess? Say a person or people wanting more than is available. What do mine? I'll go first. I said resources will be distributed based on need and supply. So if this request is not in line with the availability of resources, then it will not occur. If a resource is available in such numbers that a person can have 1 million toothbrushes, then they'd probably be allowed quite a lot. However, people behaving in that way is obviously displaying some sort of strange behaviour. So people would be looking into this to see what's causing that kind of that thing and try and help them. It's very much like hoarders today. It's treated as a kind of cultural conditioning problem generally. So we'd look at it that way and see if we can give them. Like, if someone really wants 1 million toothbrushes, then see if they'll make do with a virtual reality 1 million toothbrushes or something that uses less resources.
I said education. You know, if someone actually understands what's available, they're less likely to want the impossible. Or obviously, they could find a way to make it possible. You know, it's. You know, I've actually forgot about our toothbrush conversation from the other week. I got the image of Mick putting them in a jar full of toothbrushes to see if they've got get excited. So, like, if they have, they've got a problem. But yeah, you know, as Aidan said, you know, you look at if someone is a hoarder or wants something ridiculous, you look at why. You know, essentially. But yeah, to me, it's all about education. You know, if you know what is possible and you know you can have whatever is possible, then you are less likely to want the impossible, aren't you? Really, you know.
Yeah, just to get you up to speed on what we're on about, Jodie, with the toothbrushes. Basically, we were just saying, I think it was the other week, what would happen if somebody started pinching everybody's toothbrushes. They wanted all the toothbrushes. Yeah, well, we started with like, what if somebody's going to start stealing everybody's mobile phone? You know what I mean? But then we got onto toothbrushes.
If that would happen, we'd simply all just say seek medical attention. That's it. Simple. End of subject. Because that sort of person would be crazy. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean, we walk into his house and he's got all sorts of toothbrushes displayed. And then this guy loves it, you know what I mean? And then it's not crazy, it's just that's what he does. And then we would just provide an outlet for this said person to get as many toothbrush designs as he wants. You know, do whatever you want. He can do it. I don't care if we waste as much plastic on him. If that's what he loves, that's what he's getting. Or, you know, it's either medical help or that's what he actually loves, you know what I mean?
Cool. I got. Hang on, sorry. Just. Do you know how to unmute and mute yourself, Jordan?
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
It's alright, dude. I'm just getting feedback. So I guess that when it comes to the basic needs for survival, that it's unlikely there wouldn't be enough available. If this was the case, then I guess that people would be rationed food, energy, etc. until the problem was fixed, say if it was like an emergency thing. But as we've discussed before, there'll be redundancies, so backup systems for the backup systems. But I'd say that anybody who keeps hoarding something would firstly be left to hoard until the person had no more room in the place of living. Then if this carried on without the hoarder realizing he or she doesn't benefit from hoarding, then I would say people would try to understand what caused the problem and how we could help the person. And it's amazing what people can do when they're surrounded and supported. through something rather than being punished for having some form of addiction. But yeah, like I like what Jodian said about like maybe it's artwork, man. Maybe he loves that stuff and he wants to make art from toothbrushes.
Someone's got to have the job as tooth fairy, maybe, like, you know, that guy.
Alright, should we go have a look at the real answer? So, what are we on this one? Okay, this is a short one. I'll do this one again. Question 89. How does one solve the problem of excess, say a person or people wanting more than is available? In regards to excess, in times of World War II, the US had 600 fighting aircraft. We could not enter the war with that, so we ended up producing 9,000 planes in a year, plus submarines, aircraft carriers, anti-aircraft weapons, and more than adequate medical staff to care for injured veterans. Of course, we mobilized for war. To my knowledge, we have never mobilized for peace to supply the abundance that we are capable of supplying. We have more than enough resources if intelligently managed and used. There is not enough money to even build the hospitals needed. That is why we must move away from the monetary system to a resource-based system. Just imagine what would happen to the world supply of resources if we mobilized for peace. To clarify particular aspects, when people go to work, their car sits idle outside the factory for 8 hours. In a resource-based global economy, very few cars would remain idle. Few freight cars would be stored in railroad yards. Few ships would remain in storage. Just like a war effort, we would put everything to use. The major difference is rather than training humans to be killing machines, they would serve with machines to produce more than enough goods and services for all people.
I was thinking with that answer, how it talked about we wouldn't have cars sitting idle, and it made me think about, you know, say if we're using Google automated cars to go to and from work, etc. That like maybe we would have cars almost sat idle. They'd be sat idle in between the ones, yeah, in between the production line and the ones being used that are actually wearing out after so long because they're constantly being used. Unless we can find a way to maintain them and they'll never need to be like recycled afterwards, then we'd have to have like a supply of line of say Google automated cars for when those ones die and then get recycled. But yeah, that's just a thought that popped in my head.
Yeah, you're right. There would be a redundancy of cars. There would be a bank of cars that if someone needs one, they're all being used fine. It's interesting, that stuff. It's kind of, this is where the Venus Project, you kind of see the age of the idea. Because when this was probably originally written, it was probably 75 and no one even thought about this stuff. But now you can see it going, well, actually, we're going to get that in 10 years anyway, so what's the problem? Like, that's not happening. So, but really underneath it is the idea of... so really, it's an interesting answer. For me, it says there'll be abundance. There's not going to be... there's not going to be a shortage, so don't worry about it. Whereas we kind of all gone on the behavioural aspects of that person, generally, with our answers.
What we do as well in these hangouts, Jordan, as well, we always, we try, if we can, try and put a question out there that somebody who's never heard of the Venus Project might say to try and like stump us or say, oh, that's not good, it's not a good. So I'm going to ask a question. What happens if somebody wants Africa for the back garden?
The whole world laughs in unison, and he can hear it himself. The answer.
Perfect. You got a real good knack of answering silly questions with just the right amount of. Jack always tells us to do this. We're the people. I know I'm pretty bad at going, okay, well, what does it really mean? Try to explain it. When it's a silly question, give a silly answer.
I was just thinking, bearing in mind that Africa would be just as hospitable and fertile as everywhere else on the planet, yeah, I would be tempted to say, yeah, well, it's a bit excessive, but as long as you promise to mow it every day.
Amazing. Cool, thanks guys. Do you have anything else on that question? Feels like we basically covered it. Cool, so question 90. How will people get along in the Middle East? How will the question of religion be resolved? Now this could be a more interesting discussion. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I mean, these questions are self-explanatory. Just your first instant is the answer. There won't be any problems with bloody religious differences, because any religious person is inherently a peaceful person, and once they realise that the people in control of them are not bloody telling them to kill their neighbour because they're bloody doing that, no religious person I know has got any problem with any other religious person. It's only the people in control that use it in a bad way. That's my answer. I mean, it's in your heart, the answer. That shouldn't even be a question. Once everyone's got peace, there's no problem. You just have to look at London to see it. Every religion's walking past each other, saying hello to each other. There's no problems whatsoever. Once we're together and we can do whatever we want, there'll be no problem with religion. You just go and do what you do in your room, and I'll do what I do in my room. So there won't be a problem. It's only when the people in control use it for war. That's it. To try and highlight the differences when there isn't no bloody differences.
Cool. So my question, follow-up question to you is: in a resource-based economy, like, will there be religion?
Yeah, of course there will. I feel a strong pull to the universe, 100%. So a lot of people will manifest that into much smaller entities and much smaller answers, and if they feel comfortable with that answer for that pull in their head, so be it. But I don't need any other person to start writing down things or mythology or anything or any history to explain this pull in my head. I just feel it. It's there, so I'm not going to deny it.
Pulling out all the perfect answers today. Getting a 10 out of 10. Should we go down the order? So Nick.
Cool. I would say through free access to information and education, which is designed to teach people individually. As Nick said the other week, if someone has free food, water, shelter, heat, light, education, transport and medical care, why would they want to become extremist or pray to a god to answer the prayers when they can solve the problem through technology? And like Jordan says, if people want to believe, why not? You know what I mean? Let them believe what they want. It's fine. I think I saw a post once saying we make his own heavens and his own hells, and we pray to his own God. So I think with more understanding comes less need for religion. But if people still want it, why not?
Cool. I say much the same. Middle East is not an easy solution. Experts will have to be consulted. That's experts with no military advantage as we have today. So armies of bridge builders will be deployed, replacing today's faceless drones. The Venus Project does not advocate removing religion or saying that it's bad. However, they do kind of feel as we move into a resource-based economy that the situations which cause people to turn to religion, like their whole family being bombed and being taught by your bitter uncle what it means to be Christian or Muslim or whatever, that kind of behaviour will be minimalised, and generally the feel is that people will turn away from the mainstream religions today, or they'll evolve into a different role within a resource-based economy. Nick?
Yeah, I wrote the Middle East has been a trouble spot for mankind for many years. When everyone has access to the world's resources and a less stressful life, I believe people everywhere would have a better chance of getting along. Religion is not something you can take away from people, yet it must be accepted that all religions can be accepted but not thrust upon others. Yeah, it's your own thing, isn't it? And as you said, Aidan, with education, I'm sure people will rely less upon religion, but this would be many years into a resource-based economy. The conditions that force people to have a belief in something, would diminish, wouldn't they?
Cool. Good answers, everyone. Any questions on that? And we'll have a look what the real answer says. This is an extra one again, so I'll do it. So, TVP FAQ 90, how will people get along in the Middle East? How will the question of religion be resolved? In a resource-based economy, there is material gain for everyone if their country participates in a project called Common Heritage, which will advance all nations. Those which refuse to participate will miss the advantages gained. Everyone is free to practice whatever belief system they have, but cannot force it upon others. Everyone can go anywhere they want without restrictions of any kind. If they fail to behave constructively, they are helped rather than put in prison or punished. There will be a constant effort to help present the advantages to even those nations who feel they want to go it alone. This will not interfere with their religious beliefs, social customs, or traditions. These cannot be forced out. You can only educate out beliefs that are irrelevant. We prefer to use the approach rather than a military one. Although it may take longer, we feel that eventually we see the advantages of this point of view of joining together and sharing resources, just as all of the United States joined together and the fighting between borders stopped. All of these countries have resource shortages, and we feel they will see the advantages. Nothing is forced upon them.
I was just going to say, when Jacques, in that answer about when the United States joined together, all the fighting between the borders stopped. And I was thinking about like nationalism and like how long it's going to. I'd be more worried about we're from here and they're from there, so we shouldn't hang around with them. Because like, I think it was more like earlier days, but there's older folks in my area that tell me about, oh, if you were from the next village on or the next town on, they used to like meet on this bridge and chase you off and fight. And I used to think, well, I think why, what, what's that all about? So I think it's more about like taking down the borders and realizing that like we've only got one planet, we all share it. We all need to help each other rather than fight over the resources. Give them to each other, feed each other, look after each other.
Like, because I remember like when I was a lad, the school from a few miles down the road, there was a park in the middle. We all used to meet up over the park and basically beat the crap out of each other. I think like human beings, have notoriously been very territorial, and I do think, despite everyone wishing to keep some kind of heritage for some form of self-identity, the borders themselves are they create divisions. I mean, if you're free to travel everywhere or anywhere, you'll find that a lot of people would move around a lot. We're naturally nomadic, and it's it's inspirational to see new places. But if the whole of the planet thought, let's go and have lunch, let's go and have croissants in Paris, and the whole of the planet turned up in Paris, well, we wouldn't all turn up on the same plane, would we? It wouldn't all happen at the same moment. So, like, when you've got tubes you can travel in and go 4,000 mile an hour, as you were going, I'm on the way to Paris, you'd suddenly realise by checking on the internet or checking on the thing you booked, oh fuck me, everyone's going to Paris. Now, why not? Let's go to Sydney then. Let's go to Australia and have this, cup of tea or whatever, this beer on the beach, because everyone's going to Paris. It wouldn't be a problem. Now when they talk about immigration, it's like, when they used to talk about all the Polish are coming over, stealing our jobs and whatever else. I think, why are we complaining? We could go to Poland then if it's empty. It doesn't actually matter, does it? Either we can all fit here or we can't. It's simple. There shouldn't be any borders. It's bloody comical, and the fact that you're born in one country should not restrict your access to go to any other countries, and you shouldn't have the government selling you a fucking passport to allow you to leave the country you were born in. It's comical.
Yeah, definitely agree. It's that. I think in the end, and at least for me, it like my kind of dissociation from Britain as an entity kind of comes to realizing that we've been a real dick over the years. It's just like, wow. And so I just like, I don't want anything to do with that. Yeah, I'm born here, and unfortunately I can't really go too far. But, wow.
I think Kaden mentioned in one of his answers that it's a complex situation as well in the Middle East at the minute, and I think without if we were to just start the Venus Project test cities in the Western world, that'd just fucking reinforce the hatred that the Middle East have got for us. I think if I'm not sure if this is correct, so don't quote me on it, but I think I saw somewhere, or I read somewhere, or I heard somewhere that when the Venus Project test city is built, obviously they've got to check that it works, but then once they know that it works, the idea is to go to the most impoverished areas first, to build them there, because they're the ones that need it the most. But at the same time, there's still people in, I don't know, let's say, a really remote part of Africa that believe that a condom would be the devil's work, sort of thing. So it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I kind of came to that when I was in Madagascar, and I was like, okay, we set up a city at sea just out there. What will the people actually do? And that would be very tough to throw the people that I met there into a situation like that. But yeah, I think that's the areas that today are slightly less developed have more potential to grow because they're less entrenched, especially in terms of the infrastructure. I'm pretty sure this isn't actually completely accurate. I can't remember where the information I got from, but there was a pretty cool thing that I saw about after World War II. The reason Japan and Germany, especially up until 75, 90s, they're really more advanced than England, France, these other kind of countries, and especially in terms of technology, is that we knocked down all their infrastructure. They're forced to start again. Whereas our ones, we kind of tried to keep milling it on and on and on, and it just kind of slowed down the whole thing. I'm not sure how entirely true that is, but it's a good kind of point if that just I enjoyed.
I think as well, somewhere it was mentioned about the bridge builders, rather than sending in armies of people with guns and like Nick says, dropping bombs. We'd be sending in people with food and water and tools and seeds, etc. And also like people, you'd have to get like translators, people that were from that tribe to come and test. You know what I mean? And like try and find like the explorer from the tribe, pick him out, then get somebody, a communicator from your tribe, and like so that they've got somebody that they know and trust and believe in, that can then say, yeah, this is what they've offered us. They're not wanting to take anything from us. They're not wanting to like kill us or take all his land, etc. They just want to help us. And like I'm guessing a lot of people are going to think, oh, this is too good to be true. But then when they see that they're just being helped and not being stripped of the land, etc., then I think there'll be a lot more trusting and start coming round like.
Cool. All right, so I think that's pretty much that question done dusted. Oh, Nick, what's it say? When you look at remote tribes in remote areas, while a resource-based economy has no desire to destroy these areas, so there's less of a threat. Very good. Cool. Yeah.
It's already a resource-based economy, isn't it?
Sorry?
Tribal places are already resource-based economies.
On a different definition of resource-based, yes.
Within their own boundaries, they are, aren't they? If it's a remote tribe that's been living in the in the forest for years, and we've only just discovered them. Essentially, they are their own resource-based economy because they manage everything and they survive. It's not at the level of life that they could be having or that we could all be having, but they're working with the resources available to them in the whole of their world, which is considerably smaller than our world with all the technology that we have.
Yeah, I think like people interpret a resource-based economy differently. But as far as Jacques, he determines it as a resource-based economy has to be global for it to work. Because I think when it comes to like small communities or tribes, etc., they like I was saying, if the Western world has a resource-based economy and the Eastern doesn't, that just creates resentment. Not just that, like when it comes to things like global climate change, things that affect us globally, so climate change and war, these are things that like need to be solved on a global level. We get a lot of people talk about like RB hybrid communities, and to me, go for it. If you want to do it, do it. I think Mark Boyle's Moneyless Man, that's pretty cool. It's a good read, interesting, and it's worth doing. If you can do it, because I'm sure it is a much better life for you, but it's not going to solve the problem for the other people. You know what I mean? So.
Right, Nick, do you want to just voice that?
Yeah, so yeah, say if I don't know, let's think of, I don't know, just for example purposes, Northern Ireland and like the rest of the world, and like the UK, Scotland, England, Wales, and Southern Ireland. are all resource-based economy. Northern Ireland doesn't want to be in it because they believe that capitalism will work. Let them do it. I'm just thinking about the people that, like, they want the advantages of a resource-based economy, but they can't have them because because we've just put it in one place. We're all doing it here, so you can't have it yet. You know what I mean? It's like the people that need the advantages are like the poorer places. So start with the poor places, build up, and then end.
Yeah, I think Aidan was nagging me to speak. You know, because I mean, I think that the resource-based economy, like, you know, as in some of the answers that we've looked at, you know, it's when you were discussing there the hybrid things, some of the time it's been said it has to be a global thing. You know, you can't just make the UK a resource-based economy or make America a resource-based economy. It has to be a global thing. Yet in some of the answers, you know, and especially tonight, we have, you know, talk about, well, the nations that don't wish to contribute or the nations that don't want to be part of it, which is then suggesting that, like, oh well, if we get, you know, 80% of the world in, we'll go for it, and the other 20% can watch and hopefully, I presume, join in later, you know. But it would be, surely it would be more advantageous to have enough of the world awake and at least wanting to try this idea to be able to make it a global move. But certainly, again, you know, like as Mick said, that, you know, you'd want to improve the impoverished areas first, because that's the places that get the most benefit, obviously.
Yeah, in terms of that, you know, it's talking about the transition there. So until basically everyone signed up, we don't want to call it a resource-based economy. In the answer it talks about, I can't remember exactly, but some sort of, I think of it like, what is it, TTIP? It'll be something along those lines. Between these nations that join together, they'll get this extended trade that will benefit them, but in real terms rather than in monetary terms for private. And, well, I'm not going to go into TTIP. But it's that kind of trade partnership would be there into a point where you go, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. And then the second they need something, you go, okay, there you go. And have some of this extra and have some of this.
TTIP, not TTIP. Everybody hates it, and I was thinking that's not a good example. Like, I suppose it'd be like a food sharing community. That would be the example I'd use. But yeah, like, so those that want it, and it really has to be, I think, the major nations, so like China, Russia, America, the EU. South American, it's massive in Brazil, Venus Project, as far as I know, and then like a lot of African nations, but and then once these places start dotting all over and like through word of mouth, people hear what's happening. And then think, oh yeah, I like that idea. I was watching the TV series Vikings, and the question came up: when did Christianity spread to the UK, and who took it there? And we eventually found out that it was like, I think there's like a YouTube video shows you the spread of religion. Because I thought it was like, oh, the Romans like didn't like Jesus to start with, and then right near the end they all changed Christian, and then they took it there. But it wasn't like that. The Romans had been there for like before even Jesus. The Romans had been to the UK before Jesus had been born. But basically, like as you saw it, it seemed like it was just word of mouth that took the religion from there to there, and humans once we all believe in something, like we all believe in money at the moment, we can do things can change quite rapidly, like, so yeah. But I can't predict the future. We'll see what happens.
Lovely. Well, I think I'll stop the broadcast there as we're at 10 o'clock. Thanks everyone and anyone who's viewing this later.